Do you feel overwhelmed by financial pressure? How about if there were practical ways for you to deal with it? Hi, my name is Frank Echeverria. I'm the author of the True Riches book and the co-host of the True Riches podcast. And in this video, I want to talk to you about 3 practical ways for you to deal with financial stress. Often, as I deal with business owners, I realize that financial pressure is a challenge. And I want today just to point out to you and give you practical ways for you to deal with it. First, I want to talk to you about knowing the purpose of your wealth. The first way that you can fight this financial stress is knowing what is the purpose of your wealth. In John chapter 12, it talks about a woman who poured a bottle of perfume at the feet of Jesus that was worth about a year's pay of salary. And she was in a dinner. Jesus had come over to the house and they were having a great celebration. And in the middle of that, this woman boldly made such an act and such a display of her love for the Lord and her appreciation towards the relationship that her and her family had with Jesus. And it's fascinating to see how, as you read the scriptures, that this woman was well aware that the wealth that she had a purpose. In my book, I define wealth as a gift from God that is given to us to honor Him, to serve others, and to fulfill our purpose here on the earth. When you are well aware of what is the purpose of your wealth, then you can deal effectively with financial pressure because you are reminded that your money has a mission. You remind yourself that the wealth that you have created has a purpose. And if you've done it, if God has helped you to do it, you will continue to do so. It's wonderful how you can get to a point in your walk with the Lord that you are constantly reminded what is the reason for the occasion. I'm sure many of you watching, God has trusted you with much. The Lord has placed a lot in your hands. And one of the ways to overcome this financial stress is by constantly reminding yourself and saying, this money came from God for a reason. This wealth, this favor, this connections, this business came from God for a reason. And His desire is that I can serve others. His desire is for me and my family to enjoy the work of our hands. And His desire is that we can glorify Him with it. And as often as you remind yourself that, you are centered on the fact that your money is on a mission and your wealth has a purpose. And every time anxiety try to knock at the door, you say, hold on a moment. I'm not going to fall for it. I'm not going to succumb into it because I know that there is a reason as to why I've been trusted with what I have today. I've learned after many years as an entrepreneur as well that I have to time and time again being fully aware of where is this wealth coming from and what is the purpose for it. And number 2, as you read the passage, you realize that this woman had a different mindset. Second effective way to deal with financial stress is having a different mindset. Certain people can look at it a certain way, but when you stick to what the scriptures say, when you follow the guidelines that the Lord has given us, when you follow the blueprint that He's given us, you dare to think outside the box. And oftentimes, you're going to swim against the current and you're going to say, I refuse to look at this situation this way. My mind is set on something else. I have a different mindset. This woman did not hesitate in pouring that perfume. She followed the prompt that she had. She followed the desire that she had to honor the Lord with such an expensive gift, with such a beautiful thing. And when you read the story, you realize the way that Jesus reacts to it. And the fact that the story made it into the scriptures, it says so much about it. And it says how dear and how precious it is to the Lord. So when you set your mind on different things, not perhaps what others might fix their minds on, when you dare to have a different approach, everyone is running crazy, everyone is losing it, but you stay focused, you stay calm, you stay at peace, you have a different approach to what to the situation that is very stressful, and we get it. But then you say, hold on a moment, what does God say about this? What do the scriptures say about this situation? What is it that God is wanting me to fix my attention on? And all of a sudden you realize that you do have a different mindset. And often as I deal with business owners, I've seen that those that choose to think outside of the box often have great results because they are following God's playbook. They are adhering themselves to what the Lord invites us to do by His word. And then finally, number 3, you choose. This is one of the most powerful ways to deal with financial stress. You choose to trust the Lord as your ultimate source of provision. You are determined, you are set, you are fixed on the fact that God is your provider and He's going to provide for you, for your business, for your company, for your employees. And when you choose to make Him and stay focused on the fact that He is your provider, that itself is a game changer. Because as anxiety was rising up, you turned your attention, you set your heart on the fact that God is your provider. He's provided for you, for your company, for your family before. All of a sudden, anxiety begins to lessen. It's worked in my life. I go, God, I know you have provided. You are my source, and I go to you. I choose to trust you. I choose to depend on you. In this difficult situation, I want to see you turning this around. And it's beautiful to see the passage and see how the Lord Jesus makes a statement. And He says, this woman was being criticized because to her, this was valuable. To others, they deemed it, including Judas, if you read it, they deemed it as a waste. Truth of the fact is that she didn't do it for them. She didn't do it for others. She did it for the Lord. And sure, have you been there? I'm sure you have. Would you made a decision for the Lord. You took a bold step. You wanted to please the Lord in the decision that you made. And to others that seemed foolish, but to you it was so valuable. It was so precious. This is exactly what happened to that woman. And you hear Jesus making the statement at the end as they were reproaching her because that money could have been used to feed the poor or for other reasons. And you hear the Lord saying, listen, you will have the poor among you, but then one day you won't have me with you. This was 7 days before the Lord was going to be crucified, and it was the pinnacle of His ministry. So you see Him making that statement. It speaks about purpose. It speaks about how valuable this decision that this woman made was. So the third thing, just remember that He is the source of your provision. He's going to fight for you. He's going to stand with you, stand by your side, and honor the decisions that you've made for Him. I hope this video has been helpful. I talk a little bit more about it in my book, True Riches. So I invite you to just find it in Amazon, and I look forward to the next time that we meet.